The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Triversity Talk. I am Stephen Bloomer-Teague.
And I am Wendy Stewart Kaplan, and it is so great being here with all of you tonight. Stephen, I have to tell you, I just love our beginning. No matter how many times I see the beginning of our show with a collage of all our Triversity friends and supporters, it never gets tiring for me. I do just love it.
Oh, no, I enjoy watching it, but apparently I don't enjoy starting it because I forgot. so anyone rewatching this on YouTube will see 2 seconds of, hold on, please, and then the start of tonight's intro.
Listen, Stephen, you brought up a very real problem to light. The live streaming is just, you do such an amazing job. And it's very challenging. People don't realize, and those of you out there that do live stream, you know the kind of technical, what we call them technical difficulties that can happen during a live stream. So you know what? No apologies. We're on. We're all here. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Well, whether you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, please give us a like, a love, a thumbs up, a share, whatever you can do to help spread the love of Stephen, Wendy, and Triversity around. We greatly appreciate it. And also, Wendy, we have a little bit of a show coming up tomorrow night, correct?
Well, we have a mega show with a wonderful performer, very, very funny guy. Many of you already know Jonathan Charles Fox. He's on the radio on, is it Thunder 102 or 103 or 107? It's a 10 something. And he's a great, it's the hundreds, okay? It's like, yeah, I'm doing okay here tonight though. And he is so funny. And the irony, Jonathan and I've mentioned this before, went to college together. I reconnected with him in Barryville at a ribbon cutting ceremony that I think it might have been for the Stick It In. And of course, we had Johnny and Roswell on the show at some point from the Stick It In. Let me just tell you, all roads lead to the tri-state area is what I can say. Jonathan will be telling his life story or parts of it in Out Loud and Proud with his faithful sidekick, Dharma, who many of you know, Dharma the Wonder Dog. We still have tickets available. We can sell tickets at the door. It is at Upfront Exhibition Space, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It is BYOB. And we'll have very tasteful plastic cups for you to drink out. We promise.
Indeed, we will. If you want more information, go to our website, triversitycenter.org. You can see it on your screen. It's also in the comments. And once you're there, just tap events and it'll be right there. I figure it's easy to give you just the site name and then have you explore a little bit versus do all kinds of backslashes and that kind of nonsense. So,
absolutely.
So head to triversitycenter.org to learn more. We'd love to see you tomorrow. This fundraiser, Jonathan is giving his time along with his wonderful accompanist, Chuck, to support us and to support our mission. And any support you can provide us is greatly appreciated. So
right. And we're all going to have a great time. I'll be there. Stephen will be there. Richard will be there. The whole crew. So come on down and say hi. Speaking of saying hi, our guest tonight is very near and dear to me. This person absolutely helped me get through the pandemic. He is a creative genius, amazing couture designer, incredible improv performer, sings parodies, sings in general, and is all around an amazing guy. I would like to introduce you all to the one and only Evan Laurence.
Hello.
Well, hey.
Welcome.
How are you today?
Welcome, Evan. Is that a hat on your head, or are you just happy to see us?
Well, I'll show you how happy. You ready?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Praise be.
All mirrors and rhinestones.
Evan, just absolutely spectacular piece. I love telling people about your designs. You're also you're a milliner, but not in the biblical sense. Let's just put it that way. You actually do, I think, sculptures for the head.
Yeah. I mean, they're all art pieces. And,
They're art pieces, right?
Past 3 weeks, I've been making crowns, king crowns, and whatever I interpret that to be. And I'm letting them take whatever form they take. I have some traditional looking crowns, but then I discovered feathers. And, I've been making huge headdresses, like 3 foot high headdresses that don't weigh that much. So they're pretty easy to wear.
That's really amazing, because right when you see like at Mardi Gras or any events like that, the headdresses are quite heavy for the performers. So I love that not only have you taken a creative turn with this, you're sensible too.
Totally. Has to be easy and light and not hurt me. And I don't like harnesses on the shoulders, or, it makes me feel like a horse or something.
Oh yeah, my gosh.
Las Vegas headdress or something.
So Evan, we talked about this. Now, do you just make hats for yourself, or do you sell your hats?
I will be selling these and promoting myself more. See, my thing was, during the pandemic, I was like, oh God, what am I going to do to keep myself sane? So I said, let me let my creativity go where it's going to go. So I started working with rhinestones and making jackets with tails, and I had one that has like bug wings on the back and all different kinds of things. And I just let that go where it wanted to. It led to making feather masks with regulation masks underneath.
Cool, right?
I have about 15 of those. I have animal masks, huge animal head masks. I have like, I don't know, 7 of those too. Lots of full costumes. I just let it go where it had to, and it led me up to mirrors.
You're describing a completely organic process where you just let things evolve, and do you feel that, I mean, I know you're an artist, so this is always in you, but do you feel that the pandemic brought out another aspect of you?
Oh, totally did. I mean, I wrote around 6 songs, really good songs that I can, I'm trying to get copyrighted right now so I can put out there and do some good recordings of.
That's exciting.
This is going to be your lawyer nerd.
Huh?
I'm going to be your lawyer nerd and say you have a copyright the second you produce it.
Please help me.
Who knows this stuff?
No, I mean, you've got to register the copyright in order to be able to sue people who steal it from you, but you have the copyright upon creation. It's
the government side is kind of confusing. I do need help with that.
Well, talk to me after. I mean, I don't know a lot about IP law, but it is
you probably know more than me.
Yeah. I would probably say, I would hope so then, Evan, really. Do you have any of those crowns close by that you can hold up and show people? So, because I've seen a couple of them in person.
Let's see.
Quite spectacular.
I'll take this one off and put on another one.
Yeah, I love this. Talk about people wearing many hats. Evan has taken it to new heights, literally gorgeous.
Let's see.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. We have to go back here again.
I can see. Beautiful. I love this.
And I've got like these little diamond strip rhinestones on top of the other rhinestones and the mirrors. I mean, in the other room, I've got bunch of other crowns. Some of them are a lot shorter, but I said, let's just keep going bigger and bigger.
And that's what you've done. Why do you think, you could have done anything and you do such a range of pieces? Why crowns? Why crowns? What went off in your head for crowns?
Well, I realized symbolically for me, crowning, getting crowned is that you've achieved a certain level in life, or it's a certain way that you carry yourself, and what everything that I've created is like, it's divine inspiration, I think, but I have made this life for myself, and who I am now, and what I've done this past year and a half especially has astounded me.
Even yourself, yeah.
And the crown idea, just the colors and everything, it's just taking me on a journey. I let it kind of speak to me and see how it comes out. And one thing I've learned, and this is why I'm such a good improv artist, is that your gut is always right.
Yeah. I think you just brought out something really important, but obviously you've have a lot of experience in trusting your gut. Many people who are just coming on board with that, that's hard, right? To like listen. I call it the inner self, the inner voice in your ear, or the hunch. Unless unless you've seen it tried and true and know that it works for you every time, it's a little scary for people, because we're talking about trust within oneself when you talk about that.
Yeah, and that took a lot of work for me for years and years, because I had a very bad childhood, harsh childhood, and split up home, and I had mental abuse issues. My mother used to call me stupid and ugly like every day, because I looked like my father, basically.
Yeah, right. You can, right. We hear about this all the time.
Yeah. And she was, and I read just a couple of years ago, I read what a narcissist is, and symptoms of a narcissist. And she checked every thing on the list. I was like, that's what it was. And it was so clear. I wish I had known that,
Now, did that help you show any empathy for the circumstance? I'm just curious, because when that's leveled at you, that's so painful. But then learning that it is something that it's an illness.
It's an illness.
Well, it was kind of freeing. Yeah. And it's projection too. It involves a lot of projecting your hurt onto another person.
Right.
It's all clear now. Yeah.
So when you were a small child, did you take comfort in doing art projects, or is this something that just evolved as you evolved?
Well, I've been drawing since I was 6. Both my parents are fine artists.
Yeah.
And they also studied acting. Separated when I was 3.5 years old. My mother went through 4 husbands.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of men too. So
work, Mom.
Yeah. No,
really?
she was very pretty and never looked her age. I mean, she passed away about 6 years ago, and at 76, she looked like she could have been 50.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a very sudden thing. She went to the hospital in the city with stomach pains, and they found a tear in her intestine. They did an operation, and by that Monday she was gone. It was just like a few days.
Well, I mean, you just really brought to light that no matter how much we plan, right? Your mother sounds extremely vibrant. Had men at her fingertips, right? An artist. So she was probably a prolific person. Yeah. And, in her game plan, that end, she didn't see that end in her game plan. There's people, and we all know people that they talk about even the end game in their plan, but someone like your mom probably didn't. And it shows you that in the world, none of us have that much control over things.
No, and I found out some unusual things about her much later. We became, in her last 6 years of her life, I have to say, we became friends.
Well, that's good that you had that at least.
Only because of my efforts, because I mean, at one point I stopped talking to her for 2 years because she was telling me, 3 friends of mine told me that she was bad-mouthing me to them, and these friends didn't know each other. And
God.
I was like, oh my God. So I brought it up to her, which I would never bring anything up to her. It was a weird thing. And she denied it. I would never do that. And
come on, she's a narcissist, right? There's no surprise that she would deny probably 3 other people that she told as well.
Exactly. And what happened was I didn't talk to her for 2 years, and she never thought I could do something like that, you know.
Right.
And that actually helped the relationship. She called me after those 2 years. Oh, you want to come by for Christmas? I was like, yeah, I could do that now, you know. And just
wow. So it shows a level of forgiveness on your part. Now, I'm just curious, Evan, as a child you were drawing, but when things were rough at home, did you like take to your room and draw? How did it manifest?
Oh, yeah. I would draw, I would read comic books, I would take refrigerator boxes and cut them out and make game shows.
Oh my gosh.
Write all the questions out, and then I'd like, just to make things happier, you know, I would actually drag my mother in, or my stepfather, her third husband. We were very close. I'd drag them in and do this game show. Like I remember there was a question, what do these 3 have in common? Kennedy, Lincoln, and Kadisha, which is our cat who jumped out the window.
God, that's hilarious.
And she starts cracking up and can't hold it, and she's like, they're all dead. That was the answer.
What? How old were you when
that was my sense of humor. I was like,
Evan, that's still your sense of humor. How old were you when you did this?
Like 13.
So you were the host of the game show?
Yeah, I loved game shows when I was a kid. I actually was kind of, when I discovered I was gay, which was at age 6, but really realizing it like at age 10, I used to watch game shows and fall in love with the hosts.
So that was your coming out. So was there, your story is great, by the way.
Who was your biggest game show host crush?
Oh, I really loved the guy from Win, Lose, or Draw.
Oh, he was cute.
Who was that?
Peter something. He was beautiful.
I don't remember who he was, but he was a handsome.
And he had a really great butt.
I saw that when he would turn around and talk to the contestants.
I always loved butts since I was a kid for some reason.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's great, Evan, because you knew who you were from the time you were a kid. Many people are confused, and what you showed as a kid, there's so much of that in you now in your art. I'm trying to figure out though how what you create now links into the game show. I know there's a hook in there somewhere. Work with me on this. How do you think?
I think other things work with that. Like when I go to flea markets, it's like I got a prize, you know. It's like,
so you like winning things.
I like stuff, you know. But I'm not that like super attached to stuff. But I like stuff, you know. So.
Right. It's funny, for not being super attached, you're always telling me about like some stuff that you got either on Amazon or.
That was one place where I had common ground with my mother. She would love the flea markets too, and she would spend like a fiend. I didn't even want to see what she was spending and how she got the money. I don't know, but going to flea markets, like I love it. And looking at antiques and old things and old Native American jewelry and things like that.
You love it. And I totally share that with you. Stephen, are you big on antiques?
Just my husband.
I thought so that's where they came from.
No, not. It's never really my thing. I like modern, ultra modern gizmos. That's
cool. I love toys.
Oh, Kevin, you do like toys. You and I have the flea market connection, though. I used to go to 26th Street in the city. I'm sure you remember that flea market, Evan.
It's still there. That's where I go.
Yeah, it was back though, like in the 80s. They would bring in busloads of tourists from Paris. Oh. That's how good. And if you know the big flea markets in Paris, I've never been. I've only heard, but they're unbelievable, and what you can get is unbelievable. But they actually had tours to the 26th Street flea market, and they would bring in loads of tourists back in the days. Then, of course, it went through its semi-dying period in the 90s into early 2000.
Yeah,
so, right, you remember that. Now it's
those two garages. Remember those two?
I love the garages. Those are still there, aren't they?
No, they're just garages now.
Oh no!
Yeah. Yeah, so there's an outdoor flea market that's next to this church that burnt down a few years ago. It's on 25th between 6th and Broadway, and that's the place to go. It's really cool.
25th between. I'll have to remember that. I'm a person. Now it's interesting. You mentioned Native American jewelry. I'd like to know your connection to Native American.
Okay, I thought it might be interesting if I tell you a little history of my spirituality.
Absolutely.
It's pretty involved. First, when I was 6 years old, I used to project the energy from my hands and watch it against the wall and look at auras.
You could see them.
This is at 6. I didn't tell anybody. I also could, this is true, I could consciously project myself from my body, like buzz out of my body and see myself going into other rooms. And I could see what was happening in the other rooms and then find out later that's really what was going on.
That's incredible. Now, did that frighten you, or were you comfortable with that?
Well, I didn't. At 6, you don't know what to do with it, really. I remember the exact feeling. You feel like you're buzzing, and then you just come out of your body.
Amazing.
And it was so easy as a kid, and I didn't reveal any of that until my dad's second wife. I told her when I was 10 years old that I could see auras, and she listened. So I knew I could tell her.
Listened, right?
You know,
she absolutely listened to you.
So okay. So it's years later, it's my mom's 4th husband. We all moved up to the Upper West Side to St. Nicholas Avenue, 178th Street.
Oh, I know exactly where that is, yeah.
And at age 15, I started, somebody at school brought me to a Nichiren Shoshu meeting for Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, chanting and meditation, and I love the chanting and meditation. And
it resonated within you?
Yeah, and I did that consistently for like 8 years, from age 15, and it really helped me balance out. But at about age 18, I was kicked out of the house when I was 17 for being gay by my mother's 4th husband.
Wow.
So, and at the age of 18, I was living in Brooklyn Heights, and I met someone who became like my spiritual brother. He was a tough Marine sergeant from Special Forces in Nam. Short guy, toughest guy you will ever meet. I don't care how big you are, you'd be scared of him. And we were very close. He taught me a lot of stuff about Native American tradition and spiritualism. And in that family, I became a spiritualist priest.
from meeting this person.
Yes, because he found that I too I talk to spirits. I found out through looking at auras, this was by accident, just by looking, that I could see like past lives.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like that. I mean, it's just a natural gift with me. So,
but there's so much in your story, Evan, being thrown out for being gay. Okay. Yeah. That was supposed, this tells me, because I'm looking at your path, that was supposed to happen. You were supposed to meet this person in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and he was gay too. He passed away from AIDS when I was living on the Indian reservation in Idaho. Now how that happened is we both went to a powwow. What is it? Something in Queens Farmhouse or something like that. They had powwows like way out in Queens.
Okay.
Met this couple, and really nice. And the husband asked me if I would participate in this dance, which is like a ghost dance, in his stead. And I said yes. And then I started having strange dreams, and my best friends at the time had the same dream.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I went to this dance, and it was very intense, wonderful. It's like a tree of life sort of dance.
That's what I was going to ask you to explain to people. Yeah.
And 6 months later, because I saw it, that I was going to move out west. And I did 6 months later, moved to the reservation, and I was there for like 4 years, 3 or 4 years. I learned all the songs, and a couple of years I led all the songs in the ceremony.
That's an incredible honor. I mean, my question was going to be, you don't come from that background. You were an outsider. Yeah. How were you accepted by Native American culture?
Well, the thing about me is that you see one thing, and when I'm actually doing these ceremonies with people, and I focus and I let myself be totally in that, they're like, oh, beforehand they're like, ha ha, look at silly little white person like this. Look at this little whatever, because I don't come off that way, and I'm not going to act like I have knowledge,
It must have earned you a lot of respect within the group.
Yeah, it did. But after a while, I have to say, 6 years in,
time. You were in the reservation the whole time for 6 years?
No, I was there for like around 4 years.
That's a very long time.
It is. And it was great, but I realized I had to get back to the city. I mean, I was out in the middle of nowhere. The next town is Pocatello, Idaho, and everything is flat and a little backwards,
Right.
It was a struggle, and of course I was a New Yorker who didn't drive either.
So you were really stranded in what was it, Pocatello?
Pocatello.
Right. Yeah. When you mention Idaho, I think of potatoes or corn.
Oh yeah, no, there's a potato museum there.
I knew it.
Well, of course there is.
Yeah,
I have a funny story about a chocolate gift from the potato museum. So they had this beautiful wrapped chocolate in a shaped like a potato in a mug, and I was going to give it to my brother for Christmas, so I put it in the refrigerator and left it there for a couple of weeks and wrapped it up and gave it to him, and he opened it up and backed away. I said, "What is that?"
Wow.
And I went over to it, and it smelled horrible. It had this, it was one of the worst smells, and I touched it, and I couldn't even wash the smell off my finger.
Wow.
It was not, I went back to the store and complained, and they said, no, that was not chocolate. That was a potato.
A potato.
So I basically gave my brother a rotted potato for Christmas.
Wow, I never remember potatoes smelling that bad when they rotted. Lord knows my daughter puts them on top of the fridge here and forgets about them. And let me tell you, I've smelled rotted potatoes. That had to be an old potato.
Was that the only gift, or was there like a alternate gift?
I forget, but my brother was and still is a little shit, and he got mad about it and always reminded me. And it's like, I didn't do it on purpose, you ass, you know. It's like, so anyway, so I came back from the reservation. I was in this guru position for a few years. I'd have women calling me at 3 or 4 a.m. crying on the phone. Oh, my life. And I couldn't take it.
That's hilarious.
I couldn't take it. I couldn't be in that position. So I was trying to tell my shaman teacher, who's now a good friend of mine still, I said, I can't do this like this, and nobody would listen to me. So this is what I do. When nobody listens to me, I just leave. And I did. And I left for like 6 years, and there were hurt feelings, whatever, but too bad. These are my feelings, you know. I mean, I felt guilty about that for a long time.
Yeah, but I have a bunch of questions about that. You know, that cutting people off. So you're saying when people stop listening, you just totally cut them off. You won't hear them out at all?
Oh no, I will totally hear them out. But it takes a lot for me to stop talking to someone. It takes a lot. And you know, when you're trying to tell something and nobody's listening to you, and you're like, no, this is how I feel, and they're telling me that I'm not feeling that way.
Oh yeah, forget about that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, sometimes that's the biggest statement you can make. Ultimately, if nobody else is hearing any other statements, you just have to walk out, and then.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hate to do that, but you know, and so I had a life with my narcissistic mother. Okay.
Right.
And so I've spent a lot of my life trying to please people.
Of course. And
it's taken me a long time to stop doing that. And I finally have, you know.
Right.
I mean, I have to say I'm at you know, Capricorns, they say Capricorns start late in life.
January 15th.
19th.
I know we're
on the cusp too. You know, I mean, even in like showbiz and everything I've done, I've started a little bit later. It's like, sometimes I think, boy, if I only started 20 years earlier, but I can't say any of that because everything I'm doing is happening at the right time now.
Right. It would not have happened 20 years earlier. That's what you need to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So. I'm curious, what was the thing that led you now onto the path of being a performer?
Well, that's, I actually have, okay. I've always been performing. I mean, I did things at home. Sixth grade, I would always organize friends to do things, make them do things. Like I had a ventriloquist dummy, and I had a hand puppet that I made named Jolia, and Jolia was a bitch. This is at 8 years old. I made this puppet. So I had a 12-year-old friend he was also gay, but we were 12, you know, who I made him come with me to the younger classes, kindergarten and first grade, and we put on shows for them.
Oh, how cool.
And I write little scripts and make up my own magic tricks, you know.
You know what? It's really amazing because 2 minutes ago, like we said, you know, the things that have happened for you in the last 20 years, they couldn't have happened earlier. They were supposed to happen now. But when I listened to your story, Evan, they were all there in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Just there. And you know what? God bless that you grew into each and every one of them along the way, and they got bigger. And you surrounded yourself. There's a lot of life lessons here. You surrounded yourself with people that would support Evan's vision And that's what brings you to where you are now.
Yes, exactly. And I have to say, seriously hunkering down and performing is in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
I'd say. Because back then is when I started with the working for the Times Square group for Bobby Horowitz and her son David Sloan.
Who are incredible, yeah.
And they had me do computer work there, and they did education for high school students, like in the Frank Sinatra School for the Arts. So I said, wait, I can do improv with them. So I wrote up a whole thing and proposal, and I wound up having the most successful class with them.
That's really incredible. And you were hired to do computer stuff.
Yep.
So, you know, there again, you're on the path that you need to be on. And it didn't look that way when you were on it, right? But look what happened. You know, I met both Bobby and David. I've only met David virtually, but incredible people that actually had vision to see what you could do. I am just chomping at the bit to show your clip.
Oh,
so I think
cool.
this is like the perfect time to do that.
Well, to give us a little understanding of what we're going to see.
Oh,
This is from Chauncey Dandridge's Freak Out.
right.
And so the theme was this year, clowns. This month, clowns. He's like, so I created a whole costume and cover up, you'll see.
It's brilliant.
And wrote the whole script and a song to go with it. And this is my French clown.
Here we go.
I was born in 17th century Paris, France. I am Pierrot Pierre. When the old town fool is walking up and down the road, begging for a piece of bread, people run away at a sprinting pace when they see his eyes so dead. They lock their doors, they hide the cheese, wondering what does cheese mean to one of these. A painted man in funny clothes, a clown, just a clown, turning your world upside down. I died hundreds of years ago, drowning in the Seine, propositioning.
Whoop.
Whoop.
What
Whoop.
happened?
Oh, technical difficulties, as we call them. Hold on, and we don't have Stephen on the stream anymore. I love, Evan, that you chose that piece. That was, I can still remember.
Hello, folks. Sorry. StreamYard decided it was done with me and done with our clip.
Just threw Wendy out. Oh, there you are.
Oh, hello. Sorry about that. I was like, I don't know if StreamYard said we've seen it or what went on, but I just got something on my screen that said something went wrong. And I was like, well, needless to say.
Right. And Stephen, if you actually attempt to contact them through chat, because of course, God forbid anyone should get on a phone, you contact them through chat and they'll give you some cockamamie excuse as to why it happened. I've given up.
But that said, that was such a cool concept. I mean, what brought that to life for you?
Thank you. I've never done a clown before, and I was like, what kind of clown am I going to be? You know, and the Piero ones appealed to me the most.
What is it about Piero? I remember that show, and everyone interpreted clowns differently. By the way, that was a spectacular show. That show should be used for something. It was that good. And that's
so good.
Brilliant. Stephen, everyone, their interpretation of the clown, brilliant. But I loved yours in particular, Evan. Why did you choose that direction?
Because a Pierrot clown can be like deeply sad and dark and funny at the same time. So I can slip back and forth, and it gave me a lot of freedom.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you go about coordinating the background, the costume, and the movements? What was the process?
Looked up backgrounds on eBay. Well,
You make it sound so
looked at
simple.
what material I had, and I have this wonderful irregular polka dot material in different colors, and I'm like, this is perfect for a clown sort of thing. And looked a little bit up clown paint, and
For the makeup.
made something for my face. And actually, I didn't do this, but you know how you register a clown look? You get a wooden egg and you paint it and decorate it as your clown face, and register it online, and your clown face is registered.
Oh, cool.
Wait a minute. This is so cool. I don't know anything about this. Okay.
I just found this out that show, and sure enough, if you want to put register clown look online, I'll send you a link, and it's pretty amazing.
Steven, you know how interested you are in copyrights and stuff?
Well, I was about to say, I was like, you can trademark your face. I mean, I'm assuming. That's what you did.
It's awesome. It's
Steven,
awesome.
this is a specialty in law. Trademark your clown face.
I am all for it.
I wonder, like, in terms of painting this wood, it's an oval, right? You paint a wooden oval with the way you would see your clown.
It has to be an egg shape.
Egg shape. Do people now? You know where I'm going with this. Do people collect these?
No, I don't know if they're like you send them in. They're in this museum or
The clown museum.
how it works. I mean, but no, I definitely want to create a little one for myself.
Oh my God, that is in my world of trivia. That's the best piece I have heard like in ages.
I was
registered
very
my
happy
face
when
on
I
an egg.
exactly.
A wooden egg that you register with your particular clown face on it. That's totally amazing. Now, I also want to ask you, Evan, you have such a body of work. You could have chose any clip. Why did you choose that one in particular?
Because a lot of my YouTube clips I don't like. I mean, I have a full musical on there, and it's was taken so badly that I don't really share it. I mean, I had a full rock musical I wrote and put up. Yeah, it's and getting people to work with you, as you know, in showbiz is really difficult. And I have to say that I'm just, since I've met you and Nick and some new people, and had my Zoom shows all year. And,
Oh my God, they saved me.
My variety shows, thank you, that I've really established some connection in the showbiz community. It's so difficult. I mean, I've had tons of variety shows for years and years, and in all kinds of great places, including Don't Tell Mamas and
What's that one? The park play? What is it?
Parkside Lounge.
Parkside Lounge. That's
Towson Street. Yeah. I've performed at Caroline's, and yeah, no, I can't wait for a lot of more live performances, and I think getting involved in theater itself again will be great for me. You know, I love doing other people's work as well, and but performance-wise, okay, I'm just going to say what I do if nobody knows. I wrote a lot of parodies, really good gay parodies. Some of them filthy.
Some of them are.
Like, for instance, The First Ass is the Deepest. That's a good one. Oh,
God.
But I keep them in reserve when people are like, it's the end of the show and they're bored, you know.
You wake them up with that.
Exactly.
Is that the Sheryl Crow song? The first.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Baby, I know.
I can't even sing the first line to you. But I also, I play ukulele, but I haven't been a lot because I've been composing these tracks, and I'm letting my voice get its full due, because if you have to concentrate on an instrument and sing, it's a little difficult.
Indeed.
So, yeah. But
Stephen always asks, because this is your floor, you can say whatever you want. It's your show. What's a message that you want to share, or a vision, or whatever you want?
Oh, you know what? I'm a big sap in a good way. I love people, and I like to get to know them, all kinds of people, not just who I'm supposed to talk to, because I was told that as a kid. Why are you talking to that person? Right. And it's like, I'm talking to a homeless person. So why are you talking to them?
Right.
If I am, my message basically of love and kindness. Be cool. Don't be an asshole. You ever see that meme of Moses holding up 2 tablets? One says be cool. The other one says don't be an asshole.
That's pretty fantastic.
I love that.
That's my favorite. My favorite Indian saying is from Sitting Bull. There's nothing so strong as gentleness, and there's nothing so gentle as real strength. So that's why I talk quietly and I don't show off, because most people are full of shit, and they're going to judge you in a certain way and want you to be, this competitive American sort of thing. A lot of people have that, and sports and, fights. And it's like, the way that I was taught was the way of the silence. If you listen to the silence, what is not said, what's in between, that's where you're going to find out the true meaning of anything.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
It's the silence between the noise is what it is.
Yeah.
So Evan, you have your crown. So can I start calling you King Evan? I think it's
sure.
Well, King Evan, tell us how we can find out more about you, or anybody watching.
Anyone out there who wants to find out about King Evan, ask your local sentry. No, you can find me as you see here on Instagram at the Evan Laurence. That's Evan Laurence with a U. I'm on Facebook.com/Evan Laurence. And you can look at my photo gallery, see some of my creations, some of them worn by the wonderful Devin Green, who's a fabulous celebrity, especially on YouTube, known for Welcome to My Home videos. Fabulous singer as well. And she's kind of mentored me. Hey, reach out, DM me, and be cool.
Be cool.
Well, thank you, Evan, so much for being on, and thank you to everyone who's been here watching us and showing your support. Wendy had me today. We went through all of our guests, and I think, Evan, you're like 46 or 47, which seems
crazy.
Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much you do, Wendy. I can't believe it.
I'm a creative person, and I can't wait for anyone else to do it for me. I'm completely self-motivated, and I love everything I do, though. You know that. I love everything I do. I want to do more.
No, and you're so welcoming and inclusive. That's what.
Thank you.
That's the only kind of people I want to be around these days.
Same.
So, yeah.
Well, and on that note, we're going to leave you, and we hope you have a good night. We hope to see you tomorrow. If you're in the area, go to triversitycenter.org, find those tickets, buy those tickets. Thank you again, Evan. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Thank you.